You're closer to the turning point than you realize. By July 21st, a shift completes, the kind you can't undo. This moon doesn't make it easy. It doesn't care what you planned. It only shows you what's really there. You've already seen hints of it. Things you used to care about slipping away. People creating more distance. A quiet pull toward what truly matters now. That's not random. You're inside the change already. But you only have hours left to move with it. If you ignore it, you don't just wait longer. You get left behind. Everything begins to hit differently when timing lines up with truth. July 21st brings a moon charged with forward motion. Clean, bold, and impossible to ignore. It's not about waiting for a breakthrough. It's about recognizing one that's already in motion. So what used to distract you starts fading out. You move smarter. Conversations shift. The past starts to lose its hold. Not because you push it away, but because it no longer fits who you're becoming. You speak up with less hesitation. You protect your time, your focus, your peace. This energy doesn't ask you to become someone new. It reminds you to stop holding back who you already are. The momentum around this moon isn't loud, but it's clear. It sharpens your direction, clears your space, and opens a lane that's been waiting on your signal. And this time, you don't second-guess the green light. You move. Type 999 in the comments if something in you knows this moment is meant for more. Alignment shows up in quiet, undeniable ways, when timing syncs, when the right path doesn't need overthinking, when clarity doesn't knock, but walks right in. July 21st is one of those rare moments where everything sharpens. A lunar checkpoint with precision behind it. Not just a phase, but a reset, written into the sky. In astrology, this moon hits during a transitional pocket where momentum builds, but only for those who are ready to move clean. It lands with intuitive clarity, unlocking chapters that no longer need to be repeated. Think of it as a final scene in a storyline you didn't realize was wrapping up. The conversations you're about to have, the boundaries you're about to draw, the plans you're finally willing to stick with, they all carry this moon's signature. Numerologically, the number 21 speaks of ownership, not surface-level intention, but full-body alignment. 2 brings connection, balance, and collaboration. 1 brings identity, clarity, and initiation. Together they form a code. Connect to what matters, then lead it forward. This moon is a mirror for that. It's not here to bring pressure, it's here to show what already works and what never did. Astrologically, we're also coming off the heels of multiple planetary shifts, Mars redefining ambition, Mercury straightening out communication, and Saturn quietly testing long-term stability. It's like the sky is fine-tuning your focus, not in a chaotic way, but with quiet accuracy. You'll start catching where your energy was leaking, and once you see it, you won't go back to old pacing. What's unique about July 21st is that it brings both softness and structure. The moon's position supports emotional clarity, but it also expects you to act on it. You may find yourself pulled towards stronger routines, clearer commitments, more real conversations. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what aligns. That means fewer distractions, less second-guessing, more forward motion. Imagine walking through a hallway where every door you've ever knocked on is open, but only one of them lights up as you pass. That's the lane this moon is illuminating. You don't need to explain it, you just know it's yours. You move in that direction without apologizing for the pace. This isn't about becoming someone different, it's about remembering the version of you that doesn't shrink, doesn't delay, and doesn't wait for outside permission. July 21st is built to trigger that return. You may start trimming down your circles, not from conflict, but from clarity. You may step back from commitments that no longer carry weight. You may even find yourself more drawn to quiet over noise, depth over flash. That's not withdrawal, it's refinement. The universe is syncing up with your priorities. Metaphorically, This moon acts like a spotlight in a dark theater. The scene has changed, the story has evolved, but only those who are paying attention will step into the new script. Others may stay repeating old lines, but not you. Every moon cycle brings movement, but some carry more direction than others. This one doesn't scatter your focus, it narrows it, and with that narrowing comes precision, power, and progress. Not loud, not messy, just aligned. July 21st isn't asking you to react, it's asking you to respond with intention. You already know what needs to stay, you already know what needs to go. This moon simply holds the light steady while you take the next step. You don't need to change your surroundings, just bring your attention here. Let your eyes rest softly where they are. The outside world can wait. For now, this moment belongs only to you. Notice how time begins to stretch, as if everything slows down, not because you told it to, but because your awareness has shifted. The noise fades back, the quiet isn't empty. It's full of something you've been needing to return to. There's a certain stillness that only finds you when you stop chasing it, and you've just stepped into that. Welcome it like an old friend. It doesn't demand anything. It simply exists to remind you that you're already whole. Think of all the distractions you've carried today. Let them become light, not disappear. Just lighten. Let them float a little farther out of reach. You're not pushing them away, only stepping into something more valuable. Now tune into the center of yourself, not your body, not your thoughts, but that quiet center that notices everything without reacting. That part of you that never rushes, the part that has always known the right moment is never loud. July 21st. The energy shifts across subtle layers, but that shift won't scream for attention. It arrives like an open door you didn't expect, revealing a version of your path that's been patiently waiting, and now you're standing right in front of it. There's nothing you need to unlock this version of your life. You're not missing anything. You've just been busy walking through noise. But today, you're in the space between the noise and the knowing, and that's all that's needed. Let this next pause be intentional. Let your mind slow its pace. Let your focus expand without effort. You're not here to perform. You're here to align quietly, deeply, without needing anything to look or sound a certain way. Call in clarity, not like a force, but like a frequency that already lives in you. You're not asking for answers. You're simply allowing what's already been true to rise through the stillness. It knows the way. As you breathe without naming it, without tracking it, allow that simple rhythm to carry you deeper, not into silence, but into presence, into attention, into now. A version of you that speaks less and listens more is rising, not to follow a script, but to write one. You're not stepping into someone else's vision, you're remembering your own. Think of one intention, not 5, not a dozen. One, let it arrive naturally. The first one that quietly surfaces without force is enough. You don't need to shape it perfectly, you just need to hold it like something precious and already real. You might find your awareness wandering. That's all right. Let it wander like wind through tall grass, without resistance, and then let it return gently to where it began. This moment, this space, this gentle unfolding. Your mind doesn't need to empty itself. It only needs room. So give it space. Let the noise drift further back. Let the words grow quieter. Let the weight slide off your shoulders, not through effort, but through permission. Your awareness is not a task. It's not something to achieve. It's a rhythm that's already moving through you, like an underground river you forgot was there. Now you've found it again. The shifts happening now aren't chaotic. They're precise. July 21st isn't random. It's part of a larger design, written in cycles, not calendars. You're tapping into one of those cycles now, without trying, just by being present. You don't have to name this feeling. You don't have to interpret anything. Being here is enough. Some answers arrive, not as sentences, but as calm, and that calm is already beginning to surface. There's a softness returning that doesn't come from stillness, but from alignment. It begins quietly, like something already known, but only now, fully remembered. This isn't the kind of clarity that shows up loudly. It unfolds in layers, through calm presence and open energy. As your awareness settles, the rest of the world becomes less important. Nothing demands attention. The outside fades into silence, and the inside expands with quiet power. That expansion is your own rhythm, syncing with something more precise. You're not being asked to fix anything. There's nothing broken. What's rising within you is an invitation, not a task. And you don't have to name what's happening to know it's real. The inner current is already pulling you into the next version of yourself. Keep your focus steady, not tight. There's no need to grip the process. Let it unfold like music that doesn't rush its own ending. Sometimes transformation moves gently, almost invisibly, but it doesn't miss a single part of you. This particular shift holds a deeper purpose, not to create something new, but to uncover what was always underneath. It's a return, not a departure. A return to a more true shape, one you've outgrown your doubts, to finally wear with ease. There is no map for what you're unlocking now, but it doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're beyond the need for direction. What's guiding you now is subtle but accurate, the kind of precision that flows from your intuition, not instructions. Let your body stay light. Let your energy stretch outward without defense. Nothing is coming to take from you. What's approaching is more like a soft merge, a reconnection with the intentions you set long ago, but are only now ready to fully live out. Hold this one truth at your core as the days shift. What's meant for me no longer needs to chase me. Let it anchor into your system, like a soft frequency hum. No urgency, no waiting, just certainty. And from that certainty, stillness. July 21st holds its own current. Not loud, not showy, but entirely clear. On that day, you'll notice the quiet power of your alignment working in real time. Not because it will announce itself, but because you won't need proof anymore. Everything will speak in energy, and you will understand it completely. It's not a coincidence how everything suddenly pauses before something life-altering. The atmosphere begins to carry a kind of electricity that isn't sharp or loud. It's more like a rhythm you can walk with. It stays in the background, humming in sync with your next step. This kind of moment doesn't come with grand signs or loud changes. It moves through the smaller shifts. A conversation that lingers in your mind longer than expected, a thought that returns when no one's speaking, or the quiet confidence that builds without anyone applauding it. That's how July 21st begins to draw itself into the picture. Not as a date marked on a calendar, but as a line in your story where everything quietly leans forward. Even your distractions start to lose their pull. The things that used to matter a little too much stop holding weight. That shift happens not because you've lost interest, but because what you're becoming finally has more gravity than what you've been holding on to. Every version of you that once craved explanation starts to soften. You're not here to keep revisiting what you've outgrown, and you no longer need to explain what's been building inside. It's already too loud to ignore, even in its silence. The change you're approaching doesn't knock. It walks in like it's always belonged. And instead of resisting it, you let it rearrange the room. Not because you're forced to, but because for once it feels right to let go of the things that never quite fit. There's no dramatic collapse here. No sudden event that shakes the ground. It's more subtle, the kind of transformation that turns the volume down on the noise and raises the clarity on what actually matters. You've known for a while that something in you was edging closer to its next truth. It doesn't ask permission anymore. It doesn't need validation. The phase you're entering has no interest in convincing anyone. It's cleaner now, sharper. You've stepped out of the fog. Not because it disappeared, but because you finally knew how to walk through it without waiting for someone else to lead the way. People may not understand what's happening within you. That's fine. Their confusion isn't your concern anymore. The ones who are meant to meet you at this next level won't need an explanation. They'll recognize the tone of your energy even in silence. What makes this turning point different is how little effort it asks from you. You're not being tested, pushed, or broken open. You're being welcomed into your next space by a frequency that already knows your pace. The doors that open now don't ask you to prove anything. They open because you're finally carrying the version of yourself they were always meant for. No more auditioning for people who never saw you. No more shrinking to keep comfort around you. It's interesting how much time we waste managing temporary peace. We stretch ourselves thin, trying to preserve situations that only make sense in past chapters. But now you're rewriting that, not through control, but through presence. And in this presence, everything becomes more clear. You walk into rooms differently. You hold conversations with more command, not louder, just steadier. You don't chase what was never solid. You magnetize what matches. On July 21st, this energy doesn't arrive like a spotlight. It moves like a mirror, quiet but honest. And what it reflects back to you isn't about who you were. It's about the version of you that stayed alive under every doubt, every delay, every detour. There's power in realizing that the most real parts of you didn't need to be protected. They needed to be seen, and now they are. You've become someone who no longer needs to shrink their vision to fit small conversations. What you once called confusion was really a slow dismantling of what no longer held your future. And now that it's finally gone quiet, there's room again for you to hear your own clarity rise without distortion. It's not bravery that brings you here, it's timing. Not the timing the world runs on, but the one that operates in the background of your being. It moves slower, deeper, it trusts longer. It doesn't ask for timelines or proof. This is where everything accelerates, not in speed, but in depth. Where what once took months to understand now becomes crystal clear in moments. The gap between inner knowing and outer experience is closed, and when that happens, life starts meeting you where you are instead of where you used to wait. It stops pulling you into past echoes and starts answering your present frequency because it finally recognizes you as someone who isn't guessing anymore. You've been rewriting the entire way you exist in your own life, and it's working. That clarity, that soft boldness, it isn't performance. It's who you've been becoming all along underneath every doubt you once labeled as fear. What emerges next doesn't ask for attention, it takes it. It lands with a kind of inner gravity that doesn't rattle but reshapes. In moments like these, everything isn't solved, it's recalibrated. As if the universe handed you a blueprint, not with instructions but with pure permission. You weren't meant to chase clarity, you were meant to grow into it. The transformation doesn't roar, it rearranges everything in quiet, firm ways. By now the external noise doesn't stick the way it used to. The comparisons, the doubt, the tug of war with expectations, it begins to lose its power. What rises instead is a kind of modern stability. It's not perfection, and it's not peace in a postcard kind of way. It's presence. Raw, living, evolving presence. You don't watch your life like a highlight reel anymore. You participate in it. Messy moments and all. On July 21st, a realization embeds itself in your rhythm, not as a spike of intensity, but a lasting shift in how you interpret your own timeline, the rush to catch up. It's done. You were never behind. You were always syncing with the exact version of yourself that could carry what's coming next. And now you begin to carry it differently. No more tight grip. No more needing every outcome explained in advance. You begin to walk with it. That's the change. Every step forward now brings evidence, not from outside sources, but from within. You're no longer in the habit of second-guessing what your deeper intelligence already confirmed. It's not arrogance, it's evolution. You've stopped outsourcing your authority. Every decision now flows from a space that's quieter, but clearer. And clarity isn't cold or clinical, it's warm. It's the kind that makes even uncertainty manageable, because you've stopped needing to control every piece. The moment something doesn't go the way you expected, you no longer unravel. You update, you rewire, you grow. Not reactively but responsively. That's power, that's maturity, that's spiritual fluency. What's fascinating is how subtle this shift will look from the outside. You'll still show up to your routine. You'll still reply to messages, but something essential underneath changes frequency. The way you speak to yourself softens but strengthens. The way you enter rooms becomes more grounded, less apologetic. You no longer explain your light. You live it. There's nothing loud about this upgrade, and yet it redefines everything. You're no longer proving your worth through productivity. You're no longer waiting for signs to trust what you already know, and you're definitely no longer denying the parts of you that always knew how far you were capable of going. This isn't about confidence in the traditional sense. It's about awareness. You're aware of your patterns, but you're no longer trapped inside them. You're aware of the highs, but you're not addicted to them. You're aware of the lows, but you no longer label them as failures. You've stopped making your evolution so conditional, and that changes the whole tone of your existence. What once drained you now teaches you. What once distracted you now sharpens you. And the people who once made you shrink no longer hold the same influence, not because you fought them, but because you outgrew the version of yourself that needed their validation. The wild part. This isn't a single moment of awakening. It's a steady integration. It builds, it deepens, it anchors. It's not a movie scene climax. It's real life rewriting itself through you in real time. You're not watching it happen. You are what's happening. And while others may still chase quick answers, temporary highs, or instant status, you'll be sitting in a different seat altogether. One that doesn't need performance to feel worthy. One that knows how to spot real alignment from noise. One that doesn't try to keep pace with the world, but shapes its own rhythm and lets the world adapt. Even your challenges start to look different now. You don't meet resistance with panic. You meet it with curiosity. You don't collapse into confusion. You pause, you recalibrate, and somehow you end up stronger. Not because you never stumble, but because you stopped interpreting stumbles as a sign that you're lost. This shift isn't trending, it's timeless. It doesn't beg for attention, it draws in what matches its frequency. That's the kind of transformation that lasts. Not the dramatic kind, but the kind that shows up every day in how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you navigate everything from uncertainty to joy. And as you keep unfolding into this newer rhythm, you stop naming your chapters by what broke. You start naming them by what opened, what expanded, what grew. You don't focus on what left. You anchor in what remained, and more importantly in what emerged. There is no final lesson. There's only deeper living. There's no arrival, just continued rising. Quiet, steady, revolutionary rising. From here on, the question isn't whether you're ready, it's whether you're willing to let your life stretch wide enough to receive what's always been waiting for your arrival. Every moment we've just explored was shared for a reason that runs deeper than explanation. Some messages don't arrive on schedule. They enter when you're already in motion, catching your attention like a song you can't turn off. That's how today's message works. Not a lesson, but a mirror. Across the collective, many are catching themselves pausing in ways they never used to. A shift in pace, a sharper clarity, and as we move through July 21st, the difference becomes hard to ignore. Not loud, but exact. What matters now isn't to rush forward, it's to move from where truth sits in you. Not from fear, urgency, or noise, but from what you already know but haven't fully embraced. This is the moment to stop collecting signs and start embodying, to leave behind the habit of checking and start trusting what's already become crystal clear. Let this be the time you reflect out loud, not in silence but through connection. What did this moment pull out of you? What finally clicked it into existence in the comments, not for others, but for the version of you who's been waiting to hear those words from you. It might surprise you how close the answers are once they're released into the open. Now is the window to share, not to stay in contemplation. Let your insight land. Whether it's one sentence or a paragraph, say what this message ignited for you. and notice how others echo or expand it in their own voice. Together, something stronger builds. A current of confirmation that what's rising in you isn't isolated, it's happening all around. Those who leave their words today are anchoring something, grounding the insight into their timeline. Even a few sentences dropped into the thread are enough to shift the atmosphere of your day. It's not about visibility or performance, it's about energetic ownership, declaring what's become clear and letting it ripple forward. And as we gather here, especially in the stillness surrounding July 21st, pay attention to who else shows up. Many of the names you'll see in the comments are part of the same wave. They're not random. These are people walking beside you in this unique moment, each carrying a piece of the mosaic that makes this energy complete. This is where digital becomes real, not just content, but community, not just inspiration, but reflection. That's why your presence matters more than you realize. Not as a viewer, but as a participant in this frequency. So don't scroll past. Be part of the resonance. Speak, engage, witness. Each like, each word, each reaction is a signal back to yourself saying, I'm awake in this too. I'm part of it. The more we engage, the more the message unfolds. Not just in the video, but through every interaction around it. That's the power of showing up intentionally. Let this space remain alive well beyond today. Return to it. Read through others' words. Reflect again next week or even next month. These conversations hold more than surface-level insights. They age well. What you don't catch now might land perfectly when your next turning point arrives. And for those who've stayed till this moment in the video, you're not here by accident. This isn't background noise. You felt drawn in for a reason. There's something here that belongs to you, and only you can define it. When clarity arrives, you'll recognize it, not in fireworks, but in the way your next decision becomes obvious, without overthinking. Stay connected here. There's more coming. New content designed not for entertainment, but for evolution. And when the next piece lands, you'll already be in rhythm with it, because you've already chosen to participate in this wave, rather than stand on the sideline. Now go light up the comments with exactly what opened up for you in this space. There's power in those words, more than you know, and there's no wrong way to say it. Whatever lands is yours.